You're
Controversially, that you're being interpreted as saying this suits a lot of parents having this diagnosis, because actually it puts their kid in a box and it says, listen, my child has a condition, nothing to do with me, nothing to do with the way I brought my child up.
Well, let's come back one. I have a recurrent depressive disorder. When I had my first depressive episode, I was terrified, as were my wife and the kids I then had, because I had no idea what was going on with me. No idea at all. And when somebody said, Mike, you're depressed, and gave me a diagnosis, of course it was a comfort, because it meant it wasn't my fault. It was nobody's fault. It was an illness, and it could be treated, it could be helped. Now, I think that is so for people with conditions on the autistic spectrum as well, or any of the other diagnoses. For parents, it can be a comfort. At last, I know what my child has. And if they have a diagnosis, it's something you can talk about in the pub.
I think it's important that people listen to what the doctor has to say here, because I know the reaction is going to be, no, my child has got autism, don't tell me my child hasn't got autism, and you're not listening to what the doctor's saying, because he's not necessarily talking about your child.
Well, I think you've used a very important word there, listening. I don't particularly worry about whether this child has a diagnosis or whether they don't have a diagnosis. What I worry about is how we deal with them. Now, with that level of distress, what you first of all is have to offer them a relationship of trust and intimacy so that they can begin to tell your story. Stories are a healing power. You need to see them for as long as they need to be seen, and importantly,
the whole
wherever.
social care system will say they haven't got the resources to do that.
Well, they will say that, but if we don't do it in this generation, remember what I said, you know, things get compounded and taken over into the next generation. But, you know, if you diagnose somebody as having one of these conditions from behind the clinic desk, that's not the end of the story. You need to get out there in the community. You need to see how they behave at home. You need to talk to teachers and watch them in the classroom.
But isn't that all not... I mean, I haven't got time to read all the comments here, but people...